When your mom and dad told you to stand up straight, it wasn't just because it looks better. It's because it actually affects your overall health. Hey everyone, Dr. Todd from Gonstead Spine Wellness. In this video, we're gonna talk about what is normal posture, why should you care? So let's get started on this, but before we get rolling, I'll just make a note real quick. I upgraded my spine. I had a chiropractor make a comment and he said, man, you should use a better spine. That one looks like a cadaver. Well, this is actually a real relic of a human spine. So that's why it looks like this. This is handed down from a couple generations of chiropractor, and I didn't have my other plastic moldable spine at home, so I went and grabbed it. This is our home gym / filming studio. So now we have the one that's more malleable. So I took your advice on that. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, before we get rolling into this topic, make sure you subscribe to our channel, like, comment, give us a thumbs up right now if you will, that'd be awesome. And please put a comment below, that really helps us tremendously. Let us know what else you wanna find out about. If there's a topic you wanna see us cover, if there's something that we covered in this video that was new to you that you didn't realize, share that with us, that'd be great. Okay, so what is normal posture? Well, we have what's called a dry spine, means a plastic spine, means there's no muscles or anything else on here. So we're just looking at bony alignment. And we have a pelvis, which is down here. We have the heads of the femurs, so this part right here. And we're gonna talk about what is normal. Before we even talk about what is normal, let me just tell you the why. People like to know the why before the what. This is the what. The why is this. When your mom and dad told you to stand up straight, it wasn't just because it looks better. It's because it actually affects your overall health. There's numerous studies that have come out over the years. One of them that I reference in a lot of our other videos is done by a researcher named Cato, where they looked at community dwelling individuals. That means people that live in retirement communities, old age homes. And they did what's called the head wall distance test. They had them back up against a wall and they measured how far their head stuck off the wall. And they found out that as that measurement increased, their health outcomes and life expectancy went down. That's one of many studies in the peer-reviewed literature that talks about sagittal balance, so side view, sagittal balance, postural alignment, and health outcomes. We're gonna discuss what is normal posture on the front view and on the side view, but the reason it matters is because it affects your overall health, it affects life expectancy, it affects how you function, it looks better, it speaks to your level of self-confidence. You look at someone that's like this and you think, person's not very confident. You look at someone like this and you say that person is a leader. We know this inherently, it's inborn, it's innate to us to look at someone's posture, their body mechanics, how they hold themselves, and it actually tells you what kind of person they are. So stand up straight, fix your posture, watch this video so you can find out way more than you ever knew about what goes into normal posture. All right, so I grabbed a stick here, a PVC pipe, so I can use this as a visual. The side view right here, there's curves that are supposed to line up in the spine. So the top and the bottom of the cervical curve should line up. C2 and C7 should be vertically aligned on the side view. If the head is forward, we say C2 is in front of C7. Very rare for C2 to be behind, it happens sometimes, but that's called a forward head posture. And commonly that is linked up with something else that happens in the thoracic spine, in the mid-back, called either a hyperkyphosis, where there's too much bend, or a hyperkyphosis and a backward shift, which is called a posterior thoracic translation. So if we look for a full body posture, you'll see that on the side view, there's different landmarks we're looking at. If I'm in this abnormal position, notice what's happening. This is a balance mechanism. I'm just hanging on my joints. Lots of people sit like this, they type like this, and this is severely damaging to the spine because it loads the joints in a way that they were not supposed to be loaded. It causes them to break down prematurely, stress, arthritis, joint fixation where the joints don't move properly. That's where chiropractors come in place of improving movement, alignment, posture, and movement. Movement globally, I should say, functional movement. Like in our clinic, we serve two audiences, by the way. I didn't say this in the beginning. We take care of the public, which might be many of you watching this today. And we have a clinic here in Meridian, Idaho. We have patients that come in locally and those that come in from out of state. Our info is below. We also take care of chiropractors. We teach chiropractors how to put functional movement and corrective exercise into their chiropractic practice, how to measure movement and how to fix it, and how to do that in conjunction with the chiropractic model of healthcare. So check out info on that as well. So now, with that said, abnormal posture affects the joints in a very negative way. They break down prematurely, causes all sorts of problems with the joints. But most importantly is that you have a spinal cord living inside of the spine. This model shows the spinal cord. It fits in that hole back there behind the vertebral body. and then it pairs off 31 pairs of spinal nerve roots. Now, what do you think happens to the spinal cord when you're like this? Do you think it's nice and loose, or do you think it's tight and being stretched? That's right, it's tight. They've studied this in the peer-reviewed literature as well, and they found that the spinal cord actually gets thinner in diameter, it's taut, and it reduces its normal function. They've measured this in nerve conduction velocity, as far as how fast nerve impulses get from a certain area somewhere else when there's an abnormal tension to the spinal cord, in addition to the spinal nerve roots. So nerves don't like to be stretched and tensioned. When you're upright, the spinal cord is in the most relaxed position. So let's just talk about some markers here with normal posture. Since we started with the side view, let's just continue with that. Top and bottom of the cervical spine, C2 and 7 should line up. T1 and T12 should line up. And then L1 and L5 should line up. And there should be a certain tilt in the pelvis, not too much and not too little. This is too much, this is too little. There's all kinds of functional components that go into this as far as musculature. Too much, this is not engaged, core engagement. Too little, this is shortened and tightened, weak in what's called the posterior chain, the muscles behind the body. Okay, so both scenarios are not good. It's kind of like that fairy tale about, the porridge being too hot, too cold, or just right. You want the posture to be just right. And those are some of the markers in the side view. Everything should line up. Some landmarks that you'll look at if you don't have x-ray and you're looking at your own posture in the mirror, you're looking at a spouse or child. This is huge, looking at kids. It starts at a young age. Look at the ear right here in the center of the shoulder. Now, if the shoulders are rolled forward, keep in mind, it doesn't count if the shoulders and the ear matches up because the shoulders are 2 inches forward. Shoulders, ear, okay? And then we're gonna drop down to the outside of the hips. You're gonna split the difference between the front of the leg, the back of the leg, split the difference, knee, and then right through the outside of the ankle or the lateral malleolus. That's a plumb line that you'd wanna see on the side view. That's the normal healthy posture. When you look at posture, look at how does the pelvis relate to the feet? Is it in front of the feet? That oftentimes leads into the rib cage being behind the pelvis, and then often leads to a balancing mechanism where the head now comes in front of the rib cage. Very common, it's an abnormal posture. That's the side view in a couple minutes or less. The front view posture, that's another animal, and that's something where oftentimes we think of scoliosis, where there's a curve in the spine. So if we're looking at it this way, you see a big bend, you're thinking, oh, that person has a scoliosis. Well, more commonly than a scoliosis, people can have a shift in the rib cage or a shift in the head. And there's videos that we have done on this, so you can reference some of this above. Check out some other videos on how we do spine analysis and also how we look at posture. That can also be driven by a short leg. So on the front view, if we drew a line right through the pubic symphysis, let me grab this one more time. Pubic symphysis is right in the center of the pelvis, right here. Obviously, you're not gonna see that on someone, but you have to visualize where that's at. It's gonna go right up through the belly button, and then the rib cage, center of the chest, should be neutral, so it shouldn't be off to the side. You're gonna look at shoulders. Are the shoulders level, or are they tilted one way or the other? And you're gonna look at the features of the face, eyes, nose, mouth, and compare it to this little notch right here called the episternal notch. They shift it off to the side one way or the other. There's a video we just did on head translation, head shifting, how we identify it, how we fix it. So make sure you watch that. We'll link that up above as well. That's one of these several postural components. I wanted to make a brief summary for you of how we look at posture, how it's much more than just that person has good posture, that person has bad posture. We look for side view, we look for front view. And I didn't even get into the rotational component, which I'll touch on just super briefly. The spine can rotate. So the head can rotate in relationship to the rib cage. It can be like this, okay? The rib cage can shift and rotate compared to the pelvis. The pelvis can rotate in relationship to the feet. All those things can happen. Those are all abnormal postures, or what's called postural distortions. We identify this on exam. We then cross this over and compare it to x-ray, and then we figure out how to reverse engineer why this happened and how to start fixing this, because we know that a neutral, healthy posture, that's the strongest position for the body to be in, to be resilient, to live a long, healthy, happy life, and to live with confidence that you're not going to break down and become dysfunctional, not be able to move. And we know the peer-reviewed literature points to a reduced health outcome and a reduced life expectancy, so this is important stuff. That's my summary. Dr. Todd from Gonstead Spine Wellness. When it comes to the health of you and your family, results matter most.